guys, to TheSpurgeonPiper. This is Wilson with you. So you just bought your new pipe and you're ready to jump into the pipe tobacco hobby. You're ready to get some tobacco thrown in there and smoke. But there's some steps you should go through in making sure you have a good smoking experience. And what I'm talking about is breaking in a pipe. Now, it's not a complicated procedure. It's fairly simple, and we're going to cover those steps and what I do in breaking in new pipes that I purchase. Let me say it up front that this is my way, my method of breaking in a pipe. It's fairly common. I didn't come up with this myself. There's many who come before me who have done the same thing. But there are different methods. Overall, they have the same components or same principles, but there may be some distinctions. And like so many things in this hobby, just go with one of those methods, whether it's mine or another. Give it a try. If you like it, awesome. If not, try another way. So this is just one amongst several other ways to do so. Now, when I'm talking about breaking in a pipe, when people talk about breaking in a pipe, what they primarily mean is building up a carbon cake. It's not the only thing, but that's the primary thing. So on carbon cake, what carbon cake is a thin wall built up around the chamber, and this is in effect created from smoking tobacco. And it's a really important component of pipe smoking, as it's a great protector of your pipe from the heat that's produced, and it allows for cooler smoking. And that equals a more enjoyable and flavorful pipe smoking experience. So that's a quick overview of carbon cake. I'll cover that in a future video, but just basically what you need to know is that's an important part of pipe smoking, is building up a carbon cake in your pipe. One little note on this, however, I'm not talking about meerschaum pipes. I'm not talking about corncob pipes. Those specific type of materials require different methods. What I'm talking about in this video is your briar pipe, and you can even throw in things like your cherry material as well, as I've done the same thing with some cherry pipes I've owned. Let me add one more note there as well. If you're looking at a pipe, whether it's in a retail store or online, and you don't know what it's made of, don't buy it. Be sure you know. And if it's in a brick and mortar store, chances are they know what it is. They're going to be able to point you to, hey, that's a briar, that's a meerschaum, that's a cherry, what have you, that's a corncob. But if you don't know, especially online, this is an issue, just pause and back off. Make sure you go through a reputable retailer or pipe maker. And you can avoid some issues of getting pipes from like China, where they use some questionable materials or additions in their pipe making. So going further, how should we start? We get our new pipe, and I want to use this one from Malcolm's Pipe Shop. It's a pipe he made. It's really a modification, but we'll go with it nonetheless. It doesn't have much carbon cake in here. So I get this pipe in. What do I start with? Well, what I'm going to begin is just simply cleaning the pipe like we would normally clean a pipe if you've already smoked it. That means I would get some solution. I would get some pipe cleaners, and I would run it through the stem and shank. You can take it apart and get that material or the airways cleaned out, because there could be material in there from when it was being made. You know, there's the residue from drilling it out, maybe some staining being used, and so we're going to clean it out with just some cleaning solution. I use a mixture of isopropyl high alcohol, or high percentage, I should say, and a mix of that and mouthwash. That's what I'm normally used, and it's been fine. Use your alcohol, high liquor percentage alcohol, and that's great too. Either way, clean it out like you normally would with a pipe or after pipe smoking, and be sure you clean the airway and get any residue out. Another thing you want to bear in mind, especially for other makers like Peterson pipes, which are commonly known for this, like I have this Peterson Atlantic here. A lot of times stain that they use for the outside can be inside the bowl as well. And one thing you want to do there is make sure you remove it. One reason is you'll actually taste it through your pipe, and it's not a good taste, if you can imagine. And secondly, it can cause some issues in building up a carbon cake. So you can just simply get like a paper towel and make it like in a cone shape. Dab it. In this, I would want to use a drinking alcohol, a high percentage drinking alcohol, Everclear, something cheap, and dip it in there, and then kind of screw it into the bowl of your pipe, and do that. It may take 4, 5, 6 times, what have you, but you want to make sure you get as much of that stain out of your bowl as possible. So before you smoke it, before you put any tobacco in, what have you, you want to make sure you get that out and then dry it out after you're done. So that would be one thing you need to bear in mind for some pipes. Not all have that. Some come with a built-in carbon cake, a thin layer. I've seen some people want to remove it, and they do. I would never do that myself. I'm going to keep it in there. It's a beginning process. Leave it in there. You'll know what I'm talking about if you see one. It just looks like there's a thin layer of carbon already in there. That's great. It's a beginner. It's kind of beginning it for you. So that might be something you come across as well. One other thing we want to bear in mind is what pipe tobacco we're choosing to smoke in that pipe. There are some blends we want to be cautious of using. Aromatic blends, heavy Perique blends, heavy English or Latakia blends, I should say. They are known for ghosting pipes. And what I mean by ghosting is the flavors, the characters of those blends will seep into the carbon cake or even to the pipe, but mostly the carbon cake, and you will taste them afterwards, and even if you're smoking other blends. Give you some examples of what I'm talking about. If you take Cornell and Diehl's Autumn Evening, it's a great aromatic blend. But that heavy maple leaf flavor, you'll find in other blends you smoke afterwards. Heavy Latakia blends like Nightcap, Quiet Nights, things like that. Heavy Perique blends that have strong Perique content, they are known for that as well. So an encouragement is to smoke blends that are mainly maybe Virginia blends or Virginia Burley blends. Lighter English blends I find not to be an issue, like Early Morning Pipe right here, or my go-to is Chelsea Morning. Even lighter, that one has Perique actually, the Chelsea Morning. It is not a problem. So those are some blends you can try, and if you're wanting more recommendations, I have several blends on for beginners that you can check out. I'll link one up above, and that will be a helpful guide for you choosing some blends that won't be an issue. Now, next step we want to bear in mind is packing properly. Some recommend, and this is where there's some distinctions, some recommend you only fill your pipe halfway, maybe a quarter away, and you begin smoking that several times, 10 or 20 times, with only half a bowl filled or a quarter of a bowl filled. And the reason they want to stress that is they want to make sure the bottom of the bowl builds a good carbon cake. Now, what I do and some others do is we just fill up the bowl as normal, 3-pinch method with ribbon cut, and I will fill it all the way up to the top, and I'll smoke the bowl through. But what we want to make sure we're doing is actually smoking the bowl through. All right, if you're going to go with a full bowl, smoke it through. If you know you're not going to, if you're going to leave a little bit there, you get tired, you need to stop, you need to go do something, you're going to empty out your pipe, you probably need to go with that quarter or half inch, or not half inch, but half bowl full tobacco. But we want to make sure we get a full smoking experience and make sure that carbon cake is being filled up or being built up all the way to the bottom. So that is a method where there's some distinctions and differences. I smoke with a full bowl and a new pipe because I know I'm going to smoke all the way to the bottom. So bear that in mind when you're packing your pipe. Now finally, the last thing we want to bear in mind is just regular maintenance of your pipe. You get done smoking, you want to clean it out. And I've covered this in another video as well, but in short, run some pipe cleaners through. You may even do so during your smoke. And then the final thing I'll do is after I am done smoking my pipe and I know it's going to be put up away, I'll actually bend over a pipe cleaner and I'll lightly, just barely with the pressure of the pipe cleaner itself, I'll just twist it in and get out the loose residue, the loose ash, and make sure that's out. It helps with the smell and things like that. And you may think, but aren't you going to be taking away the carbon, the material that's going to build the carbon cake? Actually, no, it's going to build it anyway. It's going to be sticking to the sides. So that's not going to damage or interfere with building that carbon cake. So guys, that's a basic overview of a new pipe, what you want to do, and get going. And be patient. It's going to take a while. I don't know how many smokes it will take. Someone has done the math. It may take 50 or 100 or 20. I forgot where it was. But over time, you're going to see that carbon cake built. Maybe around 20 lights, 20 bowlfuls. I think you'll start seeing that carbon cake very evidently. So if you have any questions, I will happily help you. Veterans, if you have recommendations or maybe you have something you do different, leave them below. It'd be great for others to see what you do, and maybe they don't like something I do, they like something you do, and that can be helpful for them. So guys, that is all I have. I hope it's helpful, and I hope you have a blessed week, and we'll talk to you soon.